Welcome to QCon Shanghai 2013.
Thank you.
So, so you have worked in various domains like databases, networking, media, finance, and now you're providing services about innovation.
Mm-hmm.
So engineers working in internet industry tend to believe that okay, we are bringing the web, we are bringing the technology forward, and then we are saving traditional industries. So, do you think this is true?
Yes, I think it's absolutely true. I think, in fact, I think it's important for big companies to understand what's happening out there in technology and learn from it, and in fact, be able to adopt it themselves, because it's important that the bigger companies do that to avoid being displaced by these smaller players, because there's so much happening right now in technology, in finance, with mobile, with big data, and all of these technologies have evolved from smaller companies, and it's kind of the classic innovator's dilemma, right? So the dilemma is, you're doing well, like you're a big, for example, finance company, you're doing great, you have a high end of customer base paying you a lot of money. So the dilemma is, do you keep doing that and maintain a steady path of progress, or do you take a step back? Do you look at disruptive technologies and build something new to leverage those technologies and enter new smaller markets and grow those markets? So I think it's important for companies to do that. So to answer your question, I think these technologies will save these businesses as long as it's the businesses that are using the technologies. Because if they don't, what's going to happen is what happened to the music industry, like when Napster came along and just took over the whole records business. And at that time, if record companies were smart, they would figure out a business model with digital music, but they didn't do it, and what happened? So it's important now. This is kind of a wave is happening again. It's important for established companies to understand that and leverage these technologies.
So what are the most important innovations in finance you have seen in the past few years?
Wow, that's a tough one. I think definitely the movement towards NoSQL. Of course, big data, powered by NoSQL is a big one. Traditionally, finance has had definitely a lot of data, and it's for various reasons. There's real-time data. There's sort of offline, post-trade data. There's analytics data, real-time persistent data. So there's a lot of data, and I think in the consumer space, they've figured out how to use these new technologies like NoSQL, like Hadoop and HBase to solve the problems there. But the scale problems in consumer are tied to the fact that there are the scale is the people. The people are the scale. You have before 95, you had nobody on the public internet, and fast forward 10 years, 15 years, you have billions of people using the internet, using mobile phones, using smartphones, using powerful apps. So automatically, in a decade, you have this problem of all this humongous data, and it's not just single point data; it's multiple points of data. Now you have like wearable computing, you have sensors on different devices, fitness tracking. So there's this explosion in data in this relatively new space in consumer, and the solutions that are being used are not traditional solutions. They're new solutions. You have Cassandra, born from Facebook, real-time processing like Twitter Storm, born from Twitter. So it's a total like over-the-top solution to these big problems. So I think finance. So I think the innovations that will be very relevant for finance, I'd say, is definitely NoSQL and big data. So it's a big one.
Good. So how about like the design part? I've heard people saying that the finance people are like, they think UED and UX design is getting more important, so they're hiring like designers from the gaming industries into the finance product design. So can you give some, like, do you think, have you observed this trend?
Absolutely, and I'm seeing that a lot with a lot of companies doing that. I think what's been happening is financial professionals are used to using these complex interfaces. There's a lot of codes you have to remember, even to bring up basic information. But what they don't realize, or what the consumers don't realize of the products, is that that takes overhead. There's training involved. It takes time. There's a steep learning curve, and you spend time training your users on that, where you can be using that time to make investments or do real work. So I think they're realizing this, and you see like new products coming out from small players. They're so much more usable. An example is a consumer finance app, Mint. So Mint is a consumer app that where consumers can track their spending and what their shopping trends are, what the shopping activities. So it's one central place where you can track your income and your spend, and then manage your money. And these apps are so usable. They're available on mobile. They're responsive. They give you charts and graphs and visualization. So I think finance firms are realizing that matters, because the same traders who are at work on these complex interfaces, they go home, their children are on tablets and iPads and using these visually beautiful interfaces to complex information, and they see the difference, and it's important that changes.
So is there any difference between like banking and I mean there are so many sectors in the finance domain, and they have different requirements and like user experience and security. So can you briefly explain like what might be the differences?
Sure. So you're right. So it's a very broad space. So you have consumer finance, and you have your professional finance. So you have banks offering various kinds of services to consumers and to financial professionals. Sometimes there's not even a UI. It's just like a data interface. So I think the first adopters will be the consumer-facing finance apps. So like for example, now on my iPhone, I can deposit checks directly to my bank. So you'll see, so banks are realizing that. So they're definitely prioritizing that, consumer interfaces. And then the next wave will be financial information. So things like securities pricing, asset class pricing, asset class data information, and then enabling traders to act on that information. So improving the interfaces that these professionals who are managing money, manage money have. I think it'll start with the investment side, because those are not strictly real time, and the interfaces today are very much web-like. You have like research reports, you have kind of web-based interfaces, browser-based interfaces. So I think that'll be the second wave of change. And then finally, the trading side, you'll see a lot of, because those are already like well established, and they get the job done like really fast. They're really custom built, like fit for purpose, as they say. So I think that'll be the next wave of change.
Actually, they're saying that for internet engineers to go into like other sectors, for example, finance, it's easier to work in the gaming or internet industry. Do you think that means do you think the job is easier actually?
You mean like working in a gaming industry versus the finance industry?
Yeah.
I think people who go into gaming it's a very specialized skill set. It's so it's either you're a game designer, so the skill set there is in designing 3D scenes using like Unity 3D, some sort of gaming engine. But I think part of gaming again depends on where you sit, if you're front end or back end. On the back end side, but on the processing side, you have a lot of advanced computation. So you have for any 3D scene, you have like a advanced physics engine that's being used there, and that's powered by the GPU. So there's a lot of GPU programming expertise in gaming, and the level of expertise in GPU management, GPU programming in gaming is much higher than what we see in finance, because it hasn't been adopted. Those kind of things haven't been adopted yet in finance. So I think it would actually be easier for a professional, a gaming professional, to work in finance, because there's the level of expertise or application there is just not there. So it's like a kind of open field for them. They can go in and say, okay, you know what, let's set up this new GPU cluster and set up. So it's actually easier for them and nobody else is doing that there. Versus there in gaming, there's a lot of competition and there's a lot of advanced systems in place already.
Okay, the next question is about innovation. So for internet questions, for internet companies, like no innovation means dead. But then it didn't used to be the case for like finance and like older manufacturing industries. But now I think people are changing their mind. So do you have any advices like for traditional companies who want to know like DevOps, they want to know about cloud, but they don't have.
They don't know where to begin. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think bigger companies are realizing now that they need to consciously think about innovation. Like, innovation is not just about ideas. It's not just about like a genius coming up with some ideas and everything is done. There's a lot more to it. It's actually like it's something that you can apply, something that can be applied. And I think the bigger companies are realizing this now, and they're actively they're being proactive about innovation and not reactive about it. And I think they should be proactive about it. And there are different things that they can do. Like there are different models of innovation they can apply. You can apply top-down innovation. You can apply like bottom-up / entrepreneurial innovation. And you can do like scouting, like technology scouting. So there are different techniques that you can systematically apply. It's not something that happens by chance. These big companies can systematically apply innovation, and I think they realize that they should be doing that.
Do you see any success stories?
So there are a few media companies in New York that I see. So they are like they're organizing hackathons. So for example, they'll bring in, these are big media companies, like they offer like magazines online. So what they'll do is so they're getting disrupted by newer players like Huffington Post. They were nothing, and overnight, like they're one of the biggest like audience serving platforms. So these traditional companies are realizing that, and they are adopting newer techniques like responsive design. They're working with. So I think what they do, their approach is to engage with the community. So I've seen them work with agencies who are familiar with these technologies. So they bring in outsiders. So that's one strategy that they're using, like bringing in outsiders. But they're also doing things like hackathons. Like you would never have heard of a hackathon at a traditional media company, but I'm seeing that like last year, in fact early this year, I already saw like of the 5 big media magazine publishers in the city, in New York, 3 of them had like multiple hackathons development. So. And it's doing well. They're launching the products that come out of this. They're incorporating them into their product line, and they're seeing results there.
Interesting. So last question. So what are you doing in the wearable devices?
Yeah, so that's a space that's very intriguing to us. We're very interested in wearables. We think the Internet of Things will definitely be big, and I think wearables will be a big part of it. So what we're doing is we work with a publishing company in New York. We actually built the first magazine application for Google Glass.
Oh.
So we're doing application development for Google Glass as part of our projects.
So it's just glass.
Yeah. So the idea is that you can wear the glass device and information is pushed out to you. So if you can subscribe to certain information. I want to know about this topic, or I want to keep a track of this celebrity. So you have your glass device on. And as and when new updates come up, they get pushed to you, and you can see them right there, like right here on your screen.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.